Hey everybody, it's already the 2nd of March and I have yet to even begin doing the late winter work on my Ilex Shillings. And Ilex Shillings is a male sport which was found to grow very densely with very little apical dominance, so it has become an incredibly popular landscape shrub because you can keep them quite low. Many times they're trimmed as formal hedges or little round balls, but they also make great bonsai. They have small leaves, they form a pretty nice little buttress trunk fairly quickly. They almost never grow way out of bounds because they just don't elongate. And they're a pretty tough plant. They're able to take a little bit of drought and some poor conditions, and I just really love them. So this guy here is actually in a black plastic training pot, although it's these pots are still pretty nice for training, especially if you're going to take it into a pot that's virtually the same size. You can grow it in this training pot and then just pop it right into a better pot. So this tree is very overgrown. Hard to see what's in there because it is so overgrown. And there's any number of different fronts of this thing. But I do know there are some things that I absolutely do not want, and like this branch right here, the one that's shooting straight up and then it ends up way over here. All of this growth here is that branch right here, this branch. And we just don't need that. It's just doing some very strange things. Unless I took the whole entire plant and chopped it away and started a new plant out of this, but that's not in the plan for today. Even though this tree is about the same age as the rest, it hasn't been defined as well as the rest. So this branch here, which also holds all that excess growth, is also way too big, so I'm just going to take it off completely. I'm going to take it off completely. Guess the tree didn't get the message. There we go. Okay. So that opens things up tremendously. And then even though obviously this is a rectangular pot where the front, quote unquote, is either here or here, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to style the tree with the front in that position. And in fact, I'm not going to style the tree. With the front in that position. And I've always looked at this tree. For some reason my turntable does not want to spin. I guess that's what I get for buying a $4 turntable. I always thought of the tree as coming up into here. Let's get some branches out of the way. And I can see it better, but the viewfinder picks up every single little branch. Okay, so my idea of the front was somewhere in here. Let's chop this guy out of here. So up into here, and then up into here, and something like that. Now I could choose to use this very small leader right here. Are we going to need any of that? Probably not. Okay, I could choose this very small leader which would create a tremendous amount more taper. But I think for now I'm just going to go with the larger, fatter one, which means it'll be a taller tree, and that's okay. So I want my branches, and we have this little bit of a knob right here in the back, which can also come off. I think I need to sharpen my concave cutters. Alright, there we go. This is also interesting right here. Let me take that guy off right there. We could very easily remove all of that and have a tree that has that nice gentle curve and then sweep out here and then create the pads. So that's I'm actually kind of liking that, although I certainly never thought of it before. But that's the beauty of growing bonsai. You can take a training tree and just let it grow out, and sometimes it'll just do things while you're hanging out. So do I go like that, or do I go with my original front like this? This would be a more conventional tree, maybe more boring, but I think I'm going to do that anyway. Because if I'm going to go like this and take all of this off, then I need to save this part, and I'm about to cut that off if I'm going to go like this with the front. So decisions. I'm really kind of liking it this way. So now I've become confused. And that's okay. Confusion is good, because then you're teachable. I had an old friend who used to tell me that all the time. And when he first said it, I was like, what are you talking about? Confusion is not good, because then you're all higgledy-piggledy. And then I became aware that he was right. Confusion is good, because then you're teachable. Once you've got it all figured out. So now what do? I think I'm going to save this for now. I was going to take it all off and just use this little tiny branch to thicken as the first main branch, and then another main branch over here. So then, if I'm going to do that, all of this top now becomes a sacrifice branch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on for the potential to take it to there. But I'm also going to style it without taking this off, as if it's going to be an informal upright. I can always make the decision later. So you see what I'm talking about here, and then up into here, and then up into here, and then up into here. So for now, since I have confused myself with that other possibility, I'm just going to take it to somewhere about like that. So if this is the tree coming this way and this way and this way and this way, then this comes off completely. Some of these guys come off because I only want one branch coming out of the outside of the curve, and we have the perfect branch right there. And then my next branch, and then I need to work on the apex. And then if this is going to be the new front, then I really don't need to do much of anything. In fact, I may even just leave this really long leggy growth out here. It will probably need to be cut back if I do decide to design it that way. But for now, I'm going to just wait. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do any more. It does need to be root pruned and repotted. And since this will make a better front if this is going to be the tree, and you'll see the angle, and this will make a better front if this is going to be the tree, and they're virtually at the same angle. So when I root prune it, since this is the front now, I will root prune it and then spin it around like that. And I may put it back in this plastic pot. I may give it an 8-inch bulb pan. But that's it for this tree. So this is a fantastic example of how after a tree has grown some, and you know, I've been looking at this as the front for a number of years. But now I've been presented with another possibility. So that's a perfect example of how you can change your mind in midstream, and may not be all that big of a deal. So in the comment section, do I have anything to cover it up with? Not really. Alright, so there, and then, you know, something like that with a tree that sweeps, and then probably more of a windswept kind of thing, or the upright, dink, 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 which is a more traditional tree. So tell me what you like in the comments. Windswept, angled, or a more traditional informal upright. And a root pruning is basically the same root pruning as every other root pruning. You pull the soil out, and this is also in a landscape mix. You pull the soil out, you remove some of the roots, chop it. I will have to chop it into more of a circle to get it back into this pot, but where this is the front. But I will do that at a later date. So that's it for this video. Please leave a comment. Sweeping, windswept, or formal upright. Not formal upright, informal upright. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.